in to watch us on the Wicomico budget hearing. If anything can be said about this year, it's different than any year we've ever had in the past, and it's going to continue on that way for a while. Because of COVID-19, we are not allowed to have a public hearing to actually take questions live, which we would love to do, and we've always done that in the past. But we will be able to answer your questions if you text us or email us as far as what questions you may have now. But we're going to, continue to answer the questions. If they come in throughout the week, we will continue to answer them. There's a lot still going on very good in Wicomico County. We're still very proud of the fact that we have Pirates Wharf is continuing on. That's been a big part of the Parks and Recreation Department. We're very proud of what they've done. The airport is another big asset that Wicomico County is very proud of, and that's moving along very well now. A couple of other things we have is a big thing is for the Pittsville Library. This year we actually have money set aside to renovate a building and to go ahead and move into a building for the Pittsville Library. This will be on a lease basis, much like the ones down there now, but on a much better building and that type of thing. So we hope to finish that up within the next month or so. And again, the biggest thing for the Board of Education is we have Beaver Run on the projects. It will start this year and it will continue on. So that's a big choice. That's $20-some million, $30 million, and we will be working on that. So there will be some disappointment to some people on certain items, and I'm sorry to say that, but so much is facing us this year, this COVID-19. We don't know people that will be facing hard times, taxes, whether they can pay their income taxes or business taxes, all will affect Wicomico County's revenue. And it will be a big hit, we're sure, and we're going to try to keep on working with the people, but we've got to take that into account in our long-range planning. One thing for the county employees that we can tell you about now is that we will be going for a 5% COLA. This 5% COLA will, in fact, cover the minimum wage of $15 an hour for many departments. Next year we'll have to do the same thing, but not quite as extensive. But we had to get up to where we were well in the $12 range this year. So we're safe on that, and we'll continue working on that. We have several other things that we're still working on, but we're just trying to take one day at a time now. We want everyone to remain safe. Wicomico County is open for business, but it's not like it's ever been before. You will have to call in. The government employees are in the building, just as the city employees are in the building, but you will have to call in and make an appointment with someone. And our big thing is our inspections, our construction. We want to keep it going, but we've got to call in and make sure our inspectors are safe. So please work with us on this. This is something new that we've not gone through before. We've gone through emergency calls before, but that's usually been for 10 to 12, 15 hours because of snowfalls, tornadoes, hurricanes, that type of thing. So this is something different. This is a health disaster that we have no control over, and we're taking every lead we get from the county health department, and we're very proud of what they're doing. So with that, I would like to introduce, I have two people with me. I have Dr. Michele Ennis she is the director of the finance office, and I have Wayne Strausburg, director of administration. I'm going to ask that they go ahead and start. Wayne will start first by giving you an overview of what we're doing, why some of the tough times are coming ahead. He will bring out the Kerwin Commission. He'll bring out, just real quickly, a week ago on the Kerwin Commission, we were told by the Board of Education that we owed no money. Less than a week later, we got a notice that we owed $2.6 million and $3-some million for next year. So a lot of this stuff is unsustainable. We can't keep going the way we're going at all if we've got to keep these mandates coming down from the state. But with that, I'm going to turn this over to Wayne and ask Wayne to give you a little bit more of a briefing and go from there. Thank you.
So good afternoon. I appreciate you taking your time and interest in tuning into this presentation. I'm going to start off with just a brief look at revenue. Without the revenue cap, our real property taxes would rise 2.65% in 2021. That's because of the increase in the real property base. However, because of the revenue cap of 2%, that increase will be limited to $1,174,000, or $382,000 less than what would have been available otherwise. So our property tax rate for the current year that we're in is 0.9346 cents. We are proposing a revenue cap rate of 0.9284 for fiscal 2021. We anticipate that the economic impacts of COVID-19 are going to negatively impact local income taxes, which in the past several years have been increasing rather nicely. However, because of the timing of state income tax distributions, we expect that any downturn in receipts will occur in late fiscal 2021 into fiscal 2022. We also anticipate weakening of investment income given the current market dynamics. So we're facing, as we look forward to 2021 and 2022, we are looking at a flattening out and perhaps weakening of the recurring revenue coming into the county. On the spending side, the Kerwin mandate will increase the Board of Education's 2022 Board of Education operating appropriation by $2.6 million, and that's coinciding with the anticipated lessening of local income tax receipts. So for those reasons, we're being conservative with spending and any utilization of reserves. I want to assure you that new capital spending is going to be closely reviewed in the first quarter of 2021 in light of the then existing economic conditions. Any projects that are already underway will be continued. So in closing with our summary comments, the environment in which we're operating is very fluid and it's difficult to predict. We'll be keeping a very close watch on economic indicators in the event adjustments to county anticipated revenue and spending becomes necessary. And with that, we can go through some of the detailed slides that Dr. Ennis has prepared for us. So with regard to our revenue, you can see you can see for the past 6 years, we've had a nice increase in local income tax revenue and a nice increase in property tax revenue. As I alluded to earlier, we believe that that's going to flatten out late in fiscal 21 into 2022. On the spending side, you can see that the vast majority of county spending is appropriated for education, public safety, and health. I believe that those two bars represent a little bit more than 80% of the county's spending budget. You will see here that our year-over-year proposed spending is going to increase somewhat, and that may strike you as a bit odd, but the reason that that's increasing is because we are anticipating using a bit more of our savings account, if you will, our reserve fund, for one-time capital projects. This slide shows you our actual budget for 19 and for 20, and our proposed spending for 21. It shows you the actual spending for 19. So we will have this online on the county's website for you if you want to look through those details. But what you're going to see is again, the year-over-year increases are essentially going to be in the areas of public safety, health, and education, and also some proposed increased spending on capital projects. This slide just shows the citizens of the county, the appropriations year by year to the Board of Education. This represents not only our maintenance of effort, the operating budget, but also includes the principal and interest payments that are attributable to Board of Education capital projects.
So,
Employee compensation, I think as you all know, the state minimum wage is increasing to a maximum of $15 an hour. That is causing what's called wage scale compression. So we are attempting to address that wage scale compression through a 5% salary increase. We also are in the final year of our Fraternal Order of Police collective bargaining agreement, and we should begin negotiations on a new agreement probably sometime early spring. Well, we're in early spring, so probably sometime in April or May. We are looking at a 16.5% increase in health insurance premiums, and quite frankly, that is indicative of the health experience that we see on the entire Lower Eastern Shore. There's a significant occurrence of both cancer and diabetes on the Lower Eastern Shore, as well as coronary issues, and our health insurance premiums, as I think everybody's are increasing. We're looking at a 6.3 increase in workers' compensation insurance. I should also add that while it isn't on this slide, we can surely anticipate an increase in our unemployment compensation rates because of the displacement of workers. Capital projects, this is interesting. I want to reiterate that the capital projects that are currently underway, we have a question that I'll get to later about the Morris Mill Bridge project. That project is already underway. The funding for that project is in place. With projects that have not yet started, we're going to take a very close look at those projects beginning in July, because we would anticipate that the fiscal and economic conditions in this, not only the state but in the county, may be quite a bit different in July, August than they are right now. So we're not going to make any firm commitments on new capital projects until we have a better understanding of the environment that we're going to be in the first quarter of 2021.
yeah. May I add what we've done?
Yes, please, Michelle.
Okay, what I wanted to demonstrate on the slide is we have proposed a $158 million budget, in which $4 million is use of prior year use of revenue. However, this year, the Finance Department did a major sweep of funds. What we did was we looked at old bond and see which one were abandoned or which ones we were able to close. With that exercise, we were able to basically either redistribute $6.4 million in old bond money, and which will potentially lead to a borrowing of $12 million. So we were able to reallocate $697,000 of pay-go projects, which means of the total projects of $22 million, and the capital request which we received from our departments this year of greater than $5,000 of $8.3 million, and one-time capital of less than $5,000 of keeping up with our actual technology and computers and so forth. We only had to go to prior year revenue for $4 million. So we were able to, with this sweep, cover a lot of large requests. So, is there anything additional you want to add?
Well, maybe you can give us some of the projections as what they're saying as far as next year with the taxes being what they are. I mean, we've got a higher tax rate, I guess, for the last year, basically because of the way the tax law has changed.
Yes. Income tax, we were able to pull in $4 million additional revenue. That's where a lot of our additional revenue came from. The basis behind that was the fact that income tax laws changes. Okay. So what was going on at the federal level with a higher deduction, with a higher standard deduction threshold, which if you did not meet that threshold, you had to take the standard deduction at Maryland level, which means most individuals, with it being a low threshold, owed taxes. So we have experienced a huge increase in income tax revenue. We anticipate still, because of the way taxes are paid, experiencing that increase. However, we also project that things will go down and kind of level out within the next year, or if additional laws changes. Our property taxes reassessed approximately, I think Wayne has a number about
2.65.
percent higher, which also allowed additional $1 million in our real estate property tax.
And we haven't raised taxes, that's just based on the assessment rates going up on
That's
properties.
just based on assessment
Okay.
rates, which between that and our department's being very conservative with some of the requests and some of the major bond sweeps, we are able to accommodate and address the minimum wage this year in the compression, because minimum wage is going up 7%.
Okay.
So the compression, addressing it with 5%, and hopefully be able to address some of our infrastructure needs.
Okay. As Dr. Ennis said, we still have a lot, in the plans right now, and we've got a lot going on. One thing that's going to be good for Wicomico County is next year we're scheduled to pay off $22 million in bonds. That's going to leave us in a lot better shape for the years to come. We have worked hard in paying our bonds off and saving our money. Had we not been so, shall we say, frugal in the last 5 to 6 years since we've been in with this administration, we would be in a rough shape right now. So this is what's keeping us going. But not to hurt the employees, but right now we're at pretty much of a hiring freeze. We're not taking on any new positions, yet we know we need some of them until we know a little bit about what COVID-19 is going to do to us, what Kerwin Commission is going to do to us. We know pretty much what the $15 an hour minimum wage is going to do to us. So we're anticipating what we know, and we're scared to death of what we don't know yet. So we're working with that, and again, we've gotten a couple of notes in here, letters from people from the Pittsville Library have been very concerned about that. I've told you 3 times, we are going to go ahead with the Pittsville Library. We're not building a new library. We're also putting $50,000 towards a new bus for the library. So I really don't need any more letters. Miss Ashley Teagle and I have talked about this, so let's go work with that. I would like to thank our first responders. I mean, we know how scared we all are of COVID-19 right now, and you can see all of us here at 6 feet apart or more. But the sheriff's office deals with them every day. The volunteer fire departments, when they go out to a house, they really don't know what's wrong with that person. And because of that, I admire them so much for what they've done. So we're going to be able to increase their budget a little bit this year. But also the correction officers, the people that we want to keep out of society. We've got people that need to watch them, and those people are doing a fantastic job. So we're very proud of all of our employees, and we're proud to be able to offer a 5% pay raise this year for them. So we will hope to do that. So I guess on a private note, I would like to tell everybody I'm feeling good. Thank you so much for all the cards and letters and prayers that I've gotten. I've been through my first treatment. It's not like anything I've ever had before, but I'm learning from that. So I should have another one in about 3 weeks. So I'll be out a few days when that one comes. But each day I'm getting stronger, and I know it's because of the people that have called and wished me well. So I appreciate that very much, and thank you so much on a personal note. If there's any questions or from Wayne or Michelle that you'd like to have?
Yeah, I've got 2 questions that
Okay.
that I've been given. So I have a question from Mr. Steve Fulkrod, 129 Emily Drive, Salisbury, Maryland. What, if anything, is in the budget related to the Morris Mill Bridge Complex project, since it is not finished and no one can tell residents when it will be finished? As I mentioned earlier, that project has been fully funded in the current operating year's budget. With regard to the completion of the project, Public Works is on that contractor every day. The scheduled completion date, according to the contractor, is late May, and we're going to do our level best to hold the contractor to that schedule. That may be changed if we have untoward weather, but we're hoping that that's not the case. I have a second question from Diane Robenstein in Hebron, Maryland. I'm writing today to ask that the Mardella middle and high school renovation get put back into the capital improvement plan for 2021. I understand that we are currently in uncertain times, but what better time than now to take advantage of all the opportunities Governor Hogan is making available, along with his commitment to the allocation of funding for school construction. The time for us to act is now. We are still in discussion with the Board of Education with regard to how to approach the renovation and improvements of that particular school. The CIP is still a fluid document. It will be adopted at the same time that our annual operating budget is adopted. A good part of what we are going to be able to do or not be able to do is going to have to do with what the state can commit to the project. And the state, the IAC, the Interagency Commission, will be making their decisions on moving major projects of that type forward in mid-May. So we would still have time to make an adjustment in the CIP for that project if we can come to an agreement with the Board of Ed as to what we feel we can afford to do with that school, and if we can come to agreement with the state on their share of funding.
Okay. Well, that was all the ones we had in here in writing in time, but I would like to thank everyone. Like I say, this has been something different. Hopefully next year we'll be back to the same old stand-up, you and I argue, and we'll go from there. But at the same time, this has been very different, and we hope to be able to make it effective as possible. And again, we're still open for any questions or any comments you have. Just give us a call, and one of the three of us, or whatever department head you've got, will be glad to answer that. So with that, we thank you very much for coming and joining us today. And if we can do anything else to help you, do not hesitate to call. Thank you all.